on Long Island and in the United States, infrastructure spending is such a challenge. It's just such a challenge. It seems like it.
Yeah.
But do you agree with that? Do you agree there's a complacency here in the U.S. with regard to infrastructure spending, or are we doing well?
Are we doing well? We're not doing as well as we need to do.
Okay.
At this point, it's not by choice anymore. It's a have to have, not really a want to have, but a have to have. I think that, you go through cycles, and we went through a period, post World War I, post Depression. You had the big deal. You had, infrastructure in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s between, interstate highways and bridges and water systems and wastewater systems. We're driving our economy, and anybody who takes a look at what our economic outlook was like, in the 50s and going to the 60s, it was strong, right?
Yeah.
So you put all that stuff in place, and you kind of go like this, and you think you're done. That's where maybe complacency isn't the proper word for it, but I think you take a breath. And then you prioritize in other places. And I think as a country, we've prioritized in so many different places that now that the cycle is back towards there's a need to be able to fund and finance infrastructure in the country, we don't know where to get the money from. Right? There were so many competing programs that the political will is there. You hear it from, I'm sure the president in the State of the State is going to talk about infrastructure. He campaigned on an infrastructure program. No money really came out. So the word is, okay, now his $1 trillion plan should be coming out in 2018. The governor has put as much funding into infrastructure as any governor has in the history of our state. $200 billion just in water, wastewater infrastructure. Local governments, you hear county executives talking about it, Laura Curran's talking about it, and Steve Alone's talking about it, how important it is. So. I think the political will is there at all levels. The need is clearly there. The ability for engineers and architects and contractors to execute the work is there. It's a matter of prioritizing the funding and making funding available. And unfortunately, I think that's a bigger issue for us is to have the will to be able to put the money where it is and then have it recur there. Not one shot, but recurring funding for infrastructure. We know that it can drive the economy. We know it puts people back to work. We know it spurs economic development. We know it expands tax base, right? To expand tax base, that's better for all taxpayers.